Hello and welcome to another SOTA Saturday. Today we are taking a tour of the Visual Arts program. My name is Matt Albritton. I'm the director of the School of the Arts, and I'm thrilled to show you all of the great facilities that we have throughout two different buildings for visual arts and introduce you to some of our students as well as faculty and the program head of visual arts who's here today, Brad McCombs. We also have with us the director of our galleries, David Knight. We have a student from our visual communication design program. And we also have the dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Dean McGill. So they're all going to help guide us through this tour. I had a little bit of technical difficulties with the beginning of the recording. And so I'm here in my home office and recording a new intro for this. But the rest of the video went just fine, and the recording went just fine. And it really showcases all the special parts that come together into the whole that is the visual arts program. Amazing facilities, incredible faculty and staff, and the best students anywhere. So I thank you for joining. I appreciate your time. If you want to know anything more about the School of the Arts or about NKU, you can contact me directly, and my contact information is right there on the website. Thank you. Enjoy.
So here we're in the Spatial Arts building, and there's student work kind of everywhere around here. This is a smaller classroom space.
This is primarily a space that we use for critiques. And there's a computer in there as well, but our big open studios are adjacent to that. So this is more of a clean space generally. We've reconfigured things a little bit recently.
So here's kind of coming into the building. And again, throughout all of our buildings, we want to showcase student work wherever we can, celebrate what our students are doing. And I always love coming over here because there's so much work in so many different stages of progress. And you can really get to see, that's nice there. You really can see all the different things going on here. I want to talk just quick about technology. We have, over the last year, added technology everywhere. So the IT department on campus has been phenomenal, getting us ready to teach remotely, even in the visual and performing arts. So we have these big, large monitors here that allows us to do close-up demonstration and keep people far enough back to keep us all safe. And this is one of the rooms where we use that. This is the wheel throwing. So we have all of our wheels spaced out, and then we can do demos live on these big screens so you can see that detail and still remain socially distant. And a lot of things like that, they've been great for the pandemic and keeping us all safe. But moving forward, it's going to continue to be extremely useful.
One example is, before, the instructor would go through a demonstration, and if you perhaps miss something, then it would be difficult to go back and to get that exact technique or to see that how they did that. But now with these new opportunities and recording things and on the screens, you can go back to a computer or on your phone and go to your Canvas course, the course files, and go look at a recording of it. And if there's something you missed, you can go back and watch it over and over and move back and forth through the video. So I think that's really going to help transform, how we teach a lot of classes and having that resource available for you. This is our great glaze room, which is really in a lot of ways exploration in chemistry and art. When you put a lot of glazes on, they look totally different when they actually go through the kiln and what comes out. So we've got, Matt, can you show the examples there of all the different glazes after they've been fired? There's another wall over there too with a lot of the little test panels.
Yeah, so there's just the endless possibility. And temperature, chemical makeup, compounds, it all makes a huge difference in the outcome. I'll skip the industrial part. But we have a number of electric kilns in here. So about half the building is for ceramics, and the other half is for sculpture. So this is our big teaching space for ceramics.
And this is would be more hand building. So ceramics, you can use clay as a sculptural material, and also in a more functional way to make functional pottery as well. So both are valued greatly, and we encourage experimentation, both if you're working more figuratively or more through hand building techniques, or if you want to incorporate wheel thrown aspects into your work as well. So we've got both of those different aspects that can be explored. And then the amazing thing is our really large kilns outside. So you can work human scale. And, we have these little sliding dollies that can slide the work into the different kilns. So you're able to work really on a large scale too.
And one thing that I've always appreciated about NKU is the support. Whether we need new pianos or new computers or specialized equipment or a state-of-the-art kiln, the university helps us secure those resources and make sure that students have industry standards so that when they get out and enter the working world, they're familiar with the latest technology that might be in the field. And this, for ceramics, this is a Blau kiln, it's the very top of the line. So this is our newest kiln here, extremely sophisticated. We can run more work through in a shorter amount of time and larger work as well. I mean, you can stand up in this thing. It's giant.
And then a very important thing to point out too is the sense of community that happens, especially over in the spatial arts area too. Right behind there's a little pizza oven, and generally on Fridays we'll have pizza gatherings for students who are working and faculty who are working in the area. So, and then beyond that, there also behind there were some raku areas as well. Walking into the advanced studios here, Matt, I'll let you.
Yeah, so this is the advanced studio spaces. So for our advanced spatial arts students, we set them up with their own space. So you have a little bit of space to work. You can, test your ideation. You can test, your ideas in forms, set the student up with their own wheel.
You got a place to keep all of your art supplies. And when you're working larger, you don't have to lug it back and forth. Most of the BFA studio students will be assigned a spot that they can use for 1 or 2 years as a studio space. So this is one is spatial arts. We also have similar setup over in the other building for drawing and painting and new media and some of the other studio art courses as well.
And here we're moving into our more sculpture facilities. And of course, with spatial arts, there's collaboration between sculpture and ceramics. So it's not just one or the other, but they do work in tandem. But this is set up for welding.
So yeah, this would be considered our metal studio, and you can do both hot techniques and cold techniques. So we've got pretty much any tool you can think of that you might need to manipulate metal in any way that could be done in this facility here. MIG welding, TIG welding, lots of different ways to attach metal things together, different types of metals as well. And then in the back corner there, and then out the back, there's also a foundry where we can cast bronze.
Another example of the new technology that's going to be handy now, but moving forward, going to continue to be very effective. Here we are in our wood shop. So in the same way that we support just about anything you can do with metal, we support anything you can do with wood in here. So a nice ventilation system keeps that sawdust out by and large. Our painting students also come over here to create stretchers for their canvases. Go ahead, Brad.
And some of these tools also have special devices on them, like the table saw is a good example, which can be a more dangerous tool to use, but we have a special sort of safety device that's been applied to that. So the moment it touches something that has moisture associated with it, it will stop the saw blade in its tracks, so to make it really safe for students to use who are just learning. So bandsaws, drill presses, sanders.
I was talking to one of our art faculty yesterday, actually, and he brought up a point that I think is really important to bring up, that for a lot of students, but especially our female students who may not have been allowed to work with tools growing up. I was one of those students that wasn't allowed to do things because I was a girl. He talked about the confidence gained by the women in the program, being able to use these large tools to manipulate materials. And when they go out in the world, no matter what their next job is, the confidence they gain, and women and men, but particularly those who've never been able to use these tools before, is just phenomenal. And that's a point that I've never really thought about before. I knew it in the sciences because you have to take apart equipment, but in the arts, this equipment, it's a really big deal that you'll have this experience. That was something I had never thought about with the arts.
No, I think that's absolutely true. And not more so than in other areas in here, where we are, we're welding, we are creating forms that can be life-size. So absolutely. Thank you, Dean McGill. All right. Any last words for the ceramics and sculpture building, Brad?
I think that sums it up. In between both of those, the wood studio and the metal studio was also a tool room. Lots of different tools and things that can be checked out, hand tools, etc. So just in general, more resources.
And this building it's located. It's walkable from the Fine Arts Center. It's located next to our dorms on campus.
If you walk slow, it's a 10-minute walk. We have some great bikes on campus too. It's just a couple minutes. You can check out a bicycle, and get across campus pretty quickly. I'd say if you're walking briskly, it's about 5 minutes from the other art building, the Fine Arts Center. Just other things that I'd like to point out about visual arts specifically. Any incoming students, we do have several scholarships, and we just extended the incoming visual arts scholarships to March 1st. The deadline was originally February 15th, which is coming up here on Monday, but we went ahead and pushed those back. So I encourage anyone who has a portfolio to apply and submit your work for those scholarships. And they range in amount from half tuition of in-state tuition. We also have 2 new visual arts diversity scholarships. Really encourage you to explore those. And then matched with the diversity scholarships, there's also the NKU diversity scholarships. That deadline is still February 15th. So if you're thinking about applying for one of those types of scholarships, I'd encourage you to look at that. It's fairly easy, just writing a couple of essays, short essays to apply for that. So and then our scholarships match that for the most part in these short essays. Oh, this is one of the new dorms that's going up on campus. When is that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be finished by fall? Matt, do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Dean McGill, do you know? And this is our North Commons for all the dorms, the little common area, eating area.
I thought it was fall 22, not 21, but I could be wrong. I can check that for you while you guys are doing that.
Yeah, they're making progress.
Because I'm making cookies.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes some time. And then across the way, you can see the science building. And then we're coming up to the library. And this is Landrum, right?
So not a far walk. There's the Fine Arts Center, poking up over there. And then right over here, you can see our basketball arena. We have gone Division I athletics. And during the short amount of time that we've been Division I, just 5 years or so, we have made it into the big NCAA tournament 3 times. So that's been really exciting to cheer on the North.
So a couple other things about our program. We do not have a portfolio requirement to become part of the visual arts program. There's no sort of formal portfolio that you have to present. But again, if you're interested in our scholarships, that would be the opportunity. If you have a portfolio, I would recommend that you apply for scholarships. But to start in visual arts, that is not required. Everyone starts off in the foundations program, and then they'll build their skill sets from that. And then you can start to explore what different areas you might be interested in focusing in on, or if you're more interested in the BA, you'll get to explore a lot of different areas to help build that creative expertise that I think is so important in the world today. And if you look at the skill sets that employers are looking for, the things that we do in the visual arts and the things that you're going to gain and understand in our program are things that employers are looking for. So just knowing that that you're going to gain these skill sets and the confidence to go out into the world and to use your creative skill sets and knowledge to help change and engage in your future careers.
Absolutely. It's a very expansive experience having an arts education. We just went by our big concert hall. We have two theaters, theater and dance is here. We have dance studios, always showcasing student artwork throughout the building. Music is in the building, and a lot of visual arts are in the building as well, other than the spatial arts that we just saw. So we're here on the first floor, and I want to take you into the printmaking room. This is our black box theater, the Stouts Theater. So our printmaking classroom, and again, along with all of our spaces, we've really spent the last year adding more technology. And so we keep the old. Yeah, we absolutely keep the old processes, the traditional processes, but enhance them wherever we can with technology. And again, that helps with teaching and demonstrations to keep us all safe, but it also can help with processes. We have computer station here where you can scan and print things and then convert those to a press and engage in traditional processes as well.
So silk screening, traditional processes like lithography, and what printmaking is a lot about is about learning how to make multiples, but also just an exploration of line, surface, color, texture. So those are really important skill sets to help you understand how to build two-dimensionally and to think about the picture plane and how all these components come together.
Yeah, and we've spent the last probably 2 years really changing a lot of our printmaking processes to be more green. Whereas a lot of acids and stuff were used in the past, we reduced our reliance on that. Yeah, this is our new resew machine, and we can make multiples, we can make books, we can make zines.
And so it's like a printer on steroids. We can really control the colors. We can create our own colors and inks that go into that, and really get some fine art quality prints out of this machine. So it's much different than a copier, although it looks sort of like one. So it's a fine art sort of tool that can create these really amazing archival type of prints. So another way that we created digital into the printmaking, as well as there's some 3D printers in the space as well. So thinking about multiples in lots of different ways. Oh, yep, there's one.
And I think this is a good opportunity to talk about our community outreach. A group of our faculty got together and they created little workbooks with this machine with facts and activities surrounding Martin Luther King Jr. So on MLK Day, we sent out over 500 of these books to area schools and the art teachers helped them lead their students through activities.
And Maddie was one of the students who helped out with that, and she's joined us. So
I'm Maddie Kunkel. I am a visual communication design BFA major, and I'm a senior. But I helped Julie Miersman, Julia Sebastian, and Randall Plowman print these. And it was a 2 to 3 day process. So we printed them on the first day on the risograph and sorted through some of the prints that may have been a little less quality. And then we started folding and packaging our zines that we made. With the zine, we had a sticker as well as a hand screen printed, a little flag that they could cut out and hang that had NKU Visual Arts on it. And it was honestly a really great learning experience, being able to print at such a fast pace with such a high quality. And it was really awesome knowing that the things that we were producing were going out to people in our community. And I definitely felt like it was a great learning experience to be part of the community that way.
Absolutely. It was a fantastic project. On the 4th floor, we've got photography. We have an advanced studio, our print lab,
our painting studio, and our primary drawing studio as well. And now Matt's entering the advanced studio. So this is where juniors and seniors who are BFA studio students painting and drawing, each of them are assigned. We've got a little marked on the floor an area, and they set up their work and have critiques in this space. And it's a place for them to keep all their materials and their research as they're developing a body of work for their senior exhibition. So each BFA student at the end of their 4 years or 4.5 years, in the case of visual communication design students, they will have an exhibition of their work in our gallery, which you'll see in a little bit. In the corner, we also have a big spray booth also that will, if you're using spray paint or any sort of aerosols, it will suck all of that air out. And then on the corner to the left, we have a studio for new media and photo students who are using digital processes. It's always in different arrays of messiness or cleanliness, depending on...
it's all about the creative process.
Right. I was just talking to Mark Leone, who's our drawing professor, bringing in some more plaster models or resin models of animals as we're starting to explore some more animation course work. You know, we've got a lot of human models, but we're trying to diversify a little bit and adding in some animal models too, and looking at explorations to the zoo that we're going to include also.
So this is our photography studio. This is absolutely a professional level studio space, not only in square footage, but in equipment as well. So students are trained on the very equipment that you will find in pro labs for photographers shooting for automobiles or Kroger or P&G. So you can step right out with your degree and really have an intimate knowledge, working knowledge of what you're going to see in a pro level studio. Plus, you get to use this equipment for your own creative projects as well. We have a number of teaching computer labs spread out throughout the building. So this is the one primarily used for photography. And again, speaking to the university's support, we have, 7 computer labs throughout the School of the Arts, continuously upgraded with the university's support, so that again, students are working on industry standards, that latest professional equipment that you'll find out in the field. We have a professional level print lab. Again, with equipment that you would see in any high-end print shop. And so we can print up to 4 feet wide and as long as you want. It's all student work up on the walls that showcase And the pricing is subsidized, so that if you went even to like Walgreens to get an 8x10, you're going to pay a lot more there than you'll pay here as a student. So we want to reduce the financial strain. It's always a big roadblock towards creativity. It's always what we want to do and what we want to create versus what we can afford to create. And so we try to lower that threshold in any way we can.
And you students can add funds to their all card and then use their all card to make their prints. And, not only photo students, but all students in visual arts and throughout SOTA actually can utilize that print lab.
Yes.
Design students, if you have a project that you need to print something large in any of the classes, that's a resource for everyone to be able to explore.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't mean to make it seem like it's only for those photo students. For all of our students and our visual communication design students use that space just about as much as the photo students. This is our painting studio. So we do have skylights up here for that natural light to come down. And it looks like Professor Menti's got a still life set up.
We've got the big racks over there. So when you're working with oil paint, it takes a little bit longer for it to dry. So you've got all that space there, so you can let it dry. So this is where you would start off in the beginning level painting, and then if you wanted to really focus on painting, then you could move into one of the studios as a junior or a senior.
And a similar space here. This is our large drawing studio with some still life set up. Most of our painting and drawing classes are being done remotely right now.
And can you point up to the ceiling so we can see the skylights? So it's a really neat space. It lets a lot of light in, natural light in.
Maintaining the traditional and adding the modern and the technology. This is an interactive Wacom tablet.
It's a Cintiq, so you can actually add this little pen tool and you can draw and paint on the digitally through this monitor.
Yeah, and so we're always trying to make sure that we're giving students many options as possible.
And that's our big freight elevator, by the way. If you need to move big paintings or sculpture up and down.
We've got a lecture room here for art history. I'm a little worried my phone battery might die, so I'm going to try to finish up the tour and get back to my office. And so we'll go down to the third floor where we have our foundations classrooms, a sort of beginning introduction to art classes. That classroom is mostly for visual communication design.
We have the front sort of lobby and office space here and some display cases and a gallery wall.
Always trying to show as much student work around the building as we can. Again, things are set up a little bit differently right now for current state of affairs. This is one of our foundations classrooms. We've put together material packets for students that so that they can work at home right now. Some of the different projects. I love this paper cutting project. Pretty amazing what you can do with paper, an X-Acto knife, and a little bit of glue, and lots of creativity.
So our foundations program sort of prepares all of our majors in visual arts to take their skills and their knowledge and their experience so that they can synthesize their ideas effectively and gain craft and techniques and the fundamental principles of art and design. And this is our new media lab. And this is set up where we've got computers along the perimeter, the outside walls, and the center, it's more of a studio area. So we teach everything in this class from robotic art to animation to video, installation and sound. So combining a lot of technology and art stuff together.
Got a green screen up here that we can use for video capture. So I think it's important that students are exposed not only to the Mac platform, which is standard in a lot of the arts industries, but also of the PC platform, because you'll find that out in the world as well.
And there's a few like subsets of the industry where Windows-based machines are a little bit more prevalent, and that would be, it seems, the shift in video and film and some high processing animation as well.
One more example of this kind of dual nature lab where we have the computer stations here and then critique station here, right? It's not only about the creative process and what you create, but then critiquing it, understanding meaning, talking about your intention and how does that translate to the viewer. A lot of our spaces have that kind of dual role. So small computer lab that's open 24/7 for students.
And what's really convenient about this space is that, in between classes, or there might be, a class might be going on in one of the classrooms. So that gives you flexibility to be working on your projects.
And then we also, again, trying to be sensitive to student needs and make sure students can take advantage of all of the technology we have. Any of our teaching classrooms, if there's not a class in there, they convert to open space for students. So in between classes, you can go in and use those high-end computers, or at the end of the day when all the classes are over. All right, David Knight is our gallery director. You're on.
So what you are looking at is what we call our main gallery. It's a large space. It's about 2,000 square feet. It's one of two galleries that are right across the hall from each other. We have a smaller gallery, which is about 600 square feet. And this exhibition just opened actually yesterday. It's called Artistic Visions of Race and Identity. So we're having an exhibition dealing with current issues in the world right now. And that will be up for several weeks. And we focus in the galleries both on regional artists, national artists, international artists, but also faculty artists, student artwork. We always have once a year a juried student exhibit, so students are invited to submit work, and a juror looks at the work, and we give out awards, and some of the works are actually purchased and are on display throughout campus. That's a real big benefit if you enter that show. We have, on average, between 10 and 15 exhibits per year in both of our galleries. These are the galleries that, as a senior, if you get a BFA, these are the galleries that you would actually exhibit in. And we have movable walls that we can make smaller gallery spaces so we can have multiple exhibits going on at one time. So as you can see, varied type of work in this exhibition, from drawing, painting, collage, all kinds of unique work in this show. We try to focus on all the different aspects of works that we produce in our own program. So throughout the year, you might see a photography show, ceramic show, and a sculpture show all in one school year. And then the next year, you might see a design-based show, another photo show, or things that we don't teach. We've had fiber shows. We've had metal work shows. We've had, actually, one year we had a show of jewelry and fine metal works. We do installations in the space. We've done performance art. So it's a very versatile space, and we do lots of amazing things. Two of the big shows that I really enjoy every year is when we have our annual faculty exhibit, so that we get to see what we're all working on when we're not teaching. And also our annual juried student show, because you get to see all of your peers' work all in one space, so you don't have to go to everyone's studio. So you're seeing all kinds of work that your peers are working on. This is our smaller gallery. Again, we have an upcoming coming up in 2 weeks that is ceramic based, and we'll be featuring our past and present full and part-time ceramic faculty members. And in the large gallery, we'll be featuring national curated exhibit of ceramic artists that are currently working around globally. This is one of the purchase awards from a past student show. Those are $1,000 purchase awards, and this one is from, I believe, 2017, if my memory serves me correctly.
Look at that. I'm impressed, David. 2017.
And throughout the building, there's actually lots of the purchase awards, but also some of the purchase awards are in other parts of the building. And
across campus.
And across campus. There's one in the Honors College, but we try to sort of put university collection artwork throughout the campus to be really vibrant. And this is our newest exhibition space, Atrium Community Showcase Gallery. Is that correct, Matt?
That's it. Yeah. So this space, like David said, this is our newest space, and we're super excited about having this. It is our community showcase Atrium, and it's a little bit more public of a space in our galleries. And our plan is to host like area K-12 art clubs and classes, as well as our own students, and then other work from the community designed to inspire conversation with the community. And that's our inaugural exhibition kind of embodies that. It's called The Emotional Force of Race, an exhibition to call for creative response. And this is artwork that a lot of our students and faculty have worked on with a professor on campus, Joan Ferrante, who's working on a project for 15 or so years called the NCRC project, Mourning the Creation of Racial Category. And so this we thought the time was just perfect for this kind of an exhibition. But then, of course, pandemic hit, and we haven't been able to have larger groups and lectures like we planned in this space. But we transitioned to a lot of streaming options, so you can get on the MCRC website and see all of this work streamed. And then 2 weeks ago, at our first SOTA Saturday, we had Joan and India, a student that helped work on the project, kind of take us through on a virtual tour and talk about the work and talk about the project. And that recording is on the SOTA Saturdays webpage that you can check out at your leisure. So
I was going to say, I think another one of the things that really highlights too at NKU is our collaborative nature that we have, not only with NKU and working with sociology, is that we're small enough where you have that one-on-one connection, and you'll be able to really engage with some interesting undergraduate research, but large enough where we have a lot of different types of coursework and liberal arts education where you can gain knowledge and understanding that you can then use to inform your work and be a more well-rounded student, but also collaboration in terms of within the School of the Arts. So we have theater and dance and music as well. And a lot of these disciplines in many ways can overlap. There's lots of opportunities to engage with that. And just when you walk into the building, hearing the musicians or the actors practicing their lines, it just has a lot of energy. And like being in that environment, that creative environment is really inspiring. But then also looking at those opportunities where we can cross over. And one of those examples is actually behind me. Blink SOTA collaborated. We had 3 collaborators. Amy Gillingham, who is the director of our NKU Philharmonic and professor, Dr. Gillingham, and Hans Schellhaus, who's a visual communication design professor, and myself collaborated on this project where we created these boats that were not in the water, but they were along the banks of the Ohio River for this celebration of the arts through a light festival. And the city of Cincinnati, this is the largest event they'd ever had. It was over 1.5 million people attended this. The bridges were lit up. The buildings were lit up. There was video mapping going on. And we collaborated on this project, and the NKU Philharmonic played live music, and the lights and these boats that had computer controllers on them, with the help of students as well to put all of this together. We created this interactive sort of visual display of our connection as a city to the river and sort of exploring that connection through music and visuals. So it was a really great experience, I think, for the students and for the faculty involved. And we had a great turnout, 1.5 million people. So it just shows how sometimes the arts can be discounted, I think, in some ways. But I think something like this shows the vitality of the arts and how it can help transform communities and engage people in different ways.
I think one of the things that I really appreciate about NKU's visual arts program in particular is the environment that's created with my professors that allows me to foster my creativity and allows me to really kind of explore different parts of myself and incorporate it into my designs. I felt that at NKU, my professors truly do care about, my success as an individual artist and my success in my industry, specifically in graphic design, because it is a competitive program. But the professors are amazing, and every professor I've ever had always pushes us to explore other avenues than the ordinary. And that's something that I really do appreciate because I felt like I've really grown as an artist, especially just within the last year. Even with all the craziness going on, I do feel like I've actually made a lot of progress. So that's something I truly, truly appreciate.
If you could talk a little bit about the thing that I like to celebrate about the College of Arts and Sciences is the kind of job careers that you wouldn't have anticipated. We all know that biology majors often go to medical school, but we don't think about the biology major who starts a wine shop, as an entrepreneur. So I'm wondering if you could talk about some of the things you guys can remember about some of your art students and where they've gone on in careers, whether in the arts or not in the arts.
Just thinking about a few recent students I've been in contact with. Jay Gray is a great example. He was a new media arts student, and he started his own business called New Mediacy, where he creates video, does documentary work and videography, and really helps tell stories. So that's one great example. We had a student who has graduated last year, and they are employed with a company called Life Formations. They do animatronics and sculptural work, and they provide things for everything from Disney to Kings Island to overseas, where they're creating these interactive environments. And then in terms of design, most of the students in the design industry are engaged with internships. And a lot of times through those internships, they'll have a job in hand before they even finish their internship. So our students are really sought after because we have a really high caliber program and really good skill set and work ethic from those students. And also because of Procter & Gamble and our proximity to Cincinnati, which is the largest sort of consumer brand company in the world, the way they have their structure set up, it's all these different design firms and videography photographers. Cincinnati is really a hub for the design industry and the arts. And so we're connected into all of that, and the networking opportunities and things that happen from that, I think, are really amazing. But we also have students who end up in different paths than maybe they originally thought. I have one student who's working for Children's Inc., nonprofit organization, which helps with children who are economically disadvantaged. And so, trying to explore different routes to help find resources for these groups, bringing her creative expertise to that organization has been something that she carries with her.
I have a couple past students, some from further along, but I have one that's a curator at a major museum on the East Coast. I also have a former student of mine that illustrates children's books. And then also one of our graduate is the assistant registrar at the Cincinnati Art Museum. And she is responsible for making sure artwork is safely taken care of when it's transferred from one museum to another. And pre-COVID time, she got to travel with that artwork. So she's been around the world so many times to travel with very important artwork and got to see a lot of the world. And she was an art history major. And so that was She has been doing that career for over 20 years and loves her job.
But I wanted to wrap up here with, we have amazing facilities. We have a very supportive university to make sure that we maintain these fantastic facilities. And that's great and that's necessary, but that's not what it's about here. What it's about here are our amazing instructors, our professors. You can engage in these creative projects, not only in the arts, but even across campus. There's a lot of student research that happens, student faculty collaborative research that happens. That's a real core mission of NKU. And we find it here in visual arts as well. But we have amazing instructors that are really hands-on, and with studio classes really become more than, we're not just teaching you art, but we're mentoring. And we're talking about this expansive skill set that comes with an arts education that Brad talked a little bit about earlier. You know, all these C's that we keep collecting that are so important, these skill sets, no matter what career you go into. Communication, you know, when you're doing critiques, you really have to hone your communication skills. And that is going to help you out in the world. Collaboration, no matter what job you have out there, you've got to collaborate. And we see a lot of collaborative projects happening in critical thinking, you know, the ability to look at what you've done and how does that translate visually. Creativity, of course, you know, the jobs that are most in demand right now, they might not even exist in 5 years. Everything is changing out there so quickly. Courage, you know, is another C that we talk about. It takes that courage to get up in front of either your peers or an audience and talk about your ideas that are in your artwork. Connection, that encompasses all of those C's, that connection. And then what was Dean McGill's C that we just added today? Confidence. Yes. Confidence as well. You know, we go through our curriculum here, starting with those building block skills, and then build up that visual confidence. And we see that all the way through to those senior exhibitions. It's really a great place to be. I said it last week. I love my job. I love being at NKU. I've been here in several different roles since 2001. I feel like we're really coming into our. Thank you for tuning in today. And if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to either me, to Brad. Check out our website. Hope to see you in the halls of SOTA sometime soon. Thanks, everybody.